It is crazy to think where Cooper Flagg could get drafted. Oh, we know he's going number 1, but to where? The Nets? The awful Wizards? Maybe not. There is an actual chance he goes to a stacked team. This happened in 1997 to create a dynasty. The Spurs had good players, including David Robinson, who just won MVP 3 years earlier. But in 96, they had a ton of injuries, so they dipped into the lottery for 1 year and got Tim Duncan. 2 years later, they won the first of 5 titles. How is that fair? But it could happen again with Cooper Flagg. The 2025 draft is insane. With all the picks that have been traded so far, it's hard to keep track. So let's look at where Cooper could land, because it could change basketball the next 20 years. But getting the top pick obviously is going to change a franchise. But a game changer in my life has been therapy. I mean, especially when I switched from a regular job to YouTube. It was so uncertain. Talking in a safe, judgment-free space helped a ton. And today's sponsor is BetterHelp. They connect you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. And it's super easy. I mean, I personally tried BetterHelp myself to vet them, and I loved my therapist. But the cool thing about online is you can easily switch to find the right person for you, which, by the way, is really common in therapy, switching around till you find the perfect therapist, but it's a lot easier and less awkward online. So go to their site, you can use my link, it's betterhelp.com/amhoops. You just answer a few questions, BetterHelp matches you to a professional who's got years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. You'll be matched with a therapist usually within 48 hours, so you can get started fast. So let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home. Just visit betterhelp.com/amhoops or choose AM Hoops during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Just a reminder of how the draft lottery works. The 14 teams that missed the playoffs are in the lottery with a chance at number 1. The 3 worst teams have an equal 14% chance at Cooper Flagg. The 4th worst team has a 12.5% chance, and the odds get worse from there. But anything can happen. I mean, since the NBA set these new rules, it's been chaos. I mean, you could have a 6 or 3% chance and get the number 1 pick. Or you could have the worst record and pick 5th, which happened to the Pistons 3 times in a row. So who is projected to be the worst franchise this year? It's tough because teams are actively trying to lose. Before he got fired at ESPN, Zach Lowe said about the Blazers, for example, they will be bad by design ahead of a loaded 2025 draft because it's not just Cooper Flagg. It's one of the deepest drafts in years. Potential franchise players like Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, and VJ Edgecombe. So why is Cooper this special? Well, he's 6'9" and just looked like an NBA player physically when he played at Team USA camp at 17 years old. Do you know how rare that is? Even guys like Wemby and Giannis look like kids at 17. I mean, Cooper is the type of guy who gets drafted out of high school if they still allowed that. He's a lead in transition at defense, a play finisher, scorer in the half court. I love that he is an off-ball star. Like, so many guys need to be the center of attention for the offense, like Luka, Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton. Cooper is like, yo, I could fit anywhere, just plug and play. But Kevin Garnett said something that makes Cooper different.
Did you see the Kevin Garnett podcast this week?
I did.
Yeah, he got superstar around him. I could see kids wanting to be like that and play like that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had no badass, cold-ass white boy like this in a long time. I'm just saying, that's on some real.
Yeah, Cooper's probably heard that his entire life. So who is going to get the badass, cold-ass white boy? Well, we've got to start with the really bad teams for the surprising stacked ones. So tier 1 is tanking teams. The Nets, Wizards, Blazers, and Jazz. Yes, the Jazz are trying to tank. Just look at their opening schedule. 16 of their first 25 games are against play-in or playoff teams. And 4 of the other 5 against Wemby and the Spurs. You think that they're trying to win after being dead last on Christmas? No, Danny Ainge is smarter than that. Next is the Brooklyn Nets. They got their own 2025 first-round pick back to tank. And if they get Cooper, the plan will be to build through the draft with a ton of picks. Look at these first rounders. They're gonna have 3 picks in 2025. 2026 has studs like AJ DeBonsta and Cam Boozer. One problem is Ben Simmons. Is there a chance this man wins them so many games he screws it up? You are never gonna believe this, but Ben was seen hitting threes in an open gym this offseason. Nah, I'm just kidding, he sucks. But worst in the West is the Blazers. I would hate if Cooper Flagg went to this team. I am sorry, but recent top 10 picks, Shaedon Sharpe in 2022, Scoot last year, now Donovan Clingan. Don't get me wrong, Clingan, Cooper could be amazing on defense in the front court, but is there a single future all-star there? I mean, I'd be afraid of another Dame Lillard situation. Great player who feels stranded with bad teammates. So tier 2 are teams that aren't trying to tank, they just suck. The Hornets, the Raptors, and the Pistons. And speaking of bad organizations, can you believe Detroit and OKC started their rebuilds in the same year? Thunder just got the 1 seed, Pistons still a disaster. Do they even deserve Cooper Flagg? We know Cade Cunningham is good, but Ausar Thompson, Ron Holland, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, iffy. Hopefully the new GM knows what he's doing, but for Cooper's sake, no. Hey, the Hornets would be fun. Can you imagine a young core of LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Cooper Flagg? I think Cooper and Mark Williams would provide two-way play around Melo, B. Will, and Miles Bridges. But tier 3 is good, but not good enough. The Rockets, the Bulls, the Hawks, and the Spurs. Cooper and Victor Wembanyama would change the future of the NBA. But the interesting thing is how this actually could happen. Most people think, oh, they're too good to get Cooper Flagg. I mean, every team that Chris Paul has gone to gets better when he joins. This is the win percentage of teams before they got CP3 and then year 1 with CP3. The most shocking example is the Thunder, supposed to be the worst NBA team, but got better than the final year of Russ and Paul George. How is that possible? Plus, the Spurs were bad last year to start, but got better and better. How could they lose? Actually, there's 2 ways. Number 1 is if Victor Wembanyama gets injured, and I know we don't want to think about that, but it's a possibility. The second way is the Hawks pick. San Antonio has Atlanta's unprotected first from DeJounte Murray. So if Atlanta wins the lottery, like they just did last year, Coop and Wemby team up. But the Hawks have a backup plan. See, in the summer of 2019, Anthony Davis got traded. Pels got back a bunch of players and Laker picks. 2025 just got traded, though, from the Pelicans to the Hawks for DeJounte Murray. So now, if the Lakers miss the playoffs, the Hawks get in the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. But the final tier is the stacked teams with a legit chance. First, the OKC Thunder. NBA GMs just said they've got the best young core by far in the league. Got the number 1 seed, but could add Cooper Flagg? How? Well, the Clippers' best player is Kawhi Leonard, who hadn't played over 70 games in 8 years. His sidekick, 35-year-old James Harden. And no matter what, OKC gets their pick. No one was happier to see Paul George leave LA. And the West is so stacked, there's an actual chance this happens. But what about the Warriors? Remember 2020? Kevin Durant just left, Clay was out injured, and 5 games in, Steph broke his hand. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, KD and Clay ain't on this team. We are one big Steph injury away from them going top of the draft again. This time, don't make the James Wiseman mistake. And the third team, I cannot believe I'm saying this, is the New Orleans Pelicans. Think about how stacked the West is. There is a legitimate shot Nola doesn't make the playoffs. And if that's obvious, like with a month or 2 left in the season, they could tank for a higher pick. Remember, this team just got Zion with a 6% chance at number 1, and it could happen again. But the Pels also made my offseason mistake list. There's actually a ton of teams who did really stupid things this summer. And I hate to say it, Kings fans, but getting DeMar DeRozan was not a great idea.